Hey yo, salute to all my subscribers and a special shout out to everybody else passing through. YouTube, what's good? Alright, shit's about to get real again. 50 secrets it's okay to keep from your partner. I forget what number we're on because I'm just trying to get through these shits. The deadline is Friday. 50 secrets it's okay to keep from your partner. Check out the playlist on my channel right now. Let me know what y'all think about the list. Let me know what y'all think about each individual video. The article here says, for the next one, how many partners you've had. Should you communicate that to your ex or should you not? An article says, sharing this information usually only leads to jealousy and insecurity. According to a relationship coach and therapist, if your partner is secure about your love for them, they shouldn't need or demand to know the details of how many people are in your past, and vice versa. Unless there are STDs involved, that's why it's called the past. This is bullshit. Any relationship, quote-unquote relationship expert, any therapist, any psychologist, I don't give a fuck who it is. And even for the people, because we talked about this on my roundtable discussions 1 week, and the episode, it's still on the channel, you can go check it out, where I brought it up. And I asked the panelists, you know, if someone asks you, as you're entering into the beginning stages of a new relationship, and someone asks you what your body count is, how are you responding? And most people were like, some of the panelists were like, yeah, it's an important question. But some of them were like, no, absolutely not. It's none of their business. This is the type of shit directly connected to broken trust, not looking at a person, you know, in the type of light that is required to be in a successful, healthy, committed relationship. Is shit like this. 100% one of my requirements in every single relationship I have ever been in since high school is when, in those earlier stages, when you're having those discussions and getting to know each other, I am 100% asking you how many partners you've had. And how many partners does not mean how many relationships you've been into. It means how many sexual partners have you had. How many partners have you been sexually active with? It's an important question. And I recommend every single person that enters into a potential relationship with someone to ask that question and have that discussion. And people get this shit twisted all the time. This shit is not about insecurities. And this shit is not about something being in the past and it's the past and that's it, and it's the past for a reason. We need to completely change our concept of time. Let me side note for a second. When people say shit like, don't live in the past, you know, the past is the past, and all that dumb shit, all of those stupid fucking cliches that people throw out there, we all live in the past. That's just a natural part of life. Nothing is ever happening in real time. The fucking light from the sun in daylight hours is not real time. That shit's, we're seeing that light and we're feeling that heat from the sun. It's not in real time. It's in the past. The fucking time it takes for you to look at a fucking object 10 feet in front of you, that shit's not real time. Yes, it's measured in milliseconds, but the time it takes for you to look at an object and the light to reflect off that object, go back into your eyes, hit the back of your pupils, and then register to your brain what that image is or what you're looking at, that takes time. You are always looking into and living in the past. That's just a natural part of life. There's no way around that. It just is what it is. People need to get out of the mindset of don't live in the past doesn't matter. Yes, the fuck it does. The past is 100% directly connected to, and in a lot of ways, indicative of what is going to happen in the future. It just is what it is. And that's why in every other facet of life, the past matters. Except for relationships. It's the only thing that we don't want to give any credence to when it comes to relationships. You go to apply for a job. You fill out that job application. They want work history. What have you done in the past that warrants you getting this job in the present. There's background checks. Have you been convicted of something? Have you been charged with a criminal offense and convicted in the past? Because that's going to let us determine if we think that you're trustworthy enough, that you're the kind of person that we want to hire in the present. When you go to apply for a loan for a home or a car or a credit card, you have to provide information that would allow that financial institution to look at your credit history. Why? Because what you did in the past, as it pertains to how you paid your bills, how you repaid loans, how you satisfied debt, is going to allow them to determine whether or not you are high risk, medium risk, or low risk for them to grant you a loan. It's all about life. It's all about the past, because it's what we learn from the past and how we apply what we've learned from the past into the present that will determine how, where, when, and what our future looks like. Period. It just is what it is. And if we took the time to stop thinking about things the way we do and start approaching relationships in a more commonsensical and logical way, and in a lot of ways the same way that we prep for everything else in life, if we start to do that in our relationships a little bit more, I think you will all see that relationships would get exponentially better than what they currently are. And there's nothing having to do with insecurity here, because you meet a person and you're just getting into those earlier stages, because that's the only time that a question like this would really come up, or really should come up. These things should be done and get them out of the way early on. The reason why it's important, in my opinion, to ask a person how many partners they've had is because it's an uncomfortable conversation, right? For anyone. But it's as important as asking someone if they want to have kids one day, if they want to get married one day, or see themselves having a family, or, what someone sees for themselves in 5 years or 10 years. It's as important, but it's important for a different reason. A lot of times, when we get into a new relationship, our judgment is already clouded by the endorphins, the infatuation stage, and all the things that go on early in a relationship. And these are the things that cause us to miss red flags. When you ask a person questions during that stage in the beginning of a relationship where two people are getting to know each other, the purpose of asking those questions, it's pretty much an interview. It's a job interview, but for a relationship, right? You're seeking a partner, they're seeking a partner, and you ask questions. No, it doesn't sound like an interview. It doesn't sound like an interrogation. But for all intents and purposes, that is what it is. That's what the point of it is for. And the best way to know the kind of person that you're dealing with and potentially getting into a new relationship with is to know what that person is willing to talk to you about, willing to communicate with you about, or not. And a person who, if I ever asked a person how many partners they've had prior to me, and they said, I don't want to answer that question, it's nobody's business, I don't feel comfortable answering that question, I would seriously, strongly consider never speaking to that person again on that level, never trying to pursue a relationship with that person. Because if you can't, the past is the past, right? It's just a general thing. We all have a past. It is what it is. But if you're ashamed of, or if you're hesitant to speak to your past with someone that you're planning on sharing your body with, planning on sharing your time with, planning on sharing, everything that is shared in a relationship with, but you're uncomfortable about talking to me about how many partners you've had, then that's a cause for concern for me. It's not about the body count. It's not about how many partners you've actually had. It's about your willingness to engage with me in conversation and discussion that's intimate and uncomfortable. Because if you can't speak honestly, openly, and freely with me about something that is pertaining to your past, but has nothing to do with the relationship between us because we're just starting out, then I can't trust you to be open and honest and free with me later on down the line when something that has to do with us, that has to do with our relationship, needs to be discussed, because you're already showing the propensity that when shit gets difficult, you want to run away from it. When shit gets difficult, you don't want to talk about it. People need to start putting more importance on these types of things. It's so real, and I really hope that people take this type of shit seriously, what I'm saying right now, because it really is not a joke. Everything is connected, and a person like me who believes that more things should be shared than not in relationships, because they'll give you a clearer understanding and a clear perception on who you're entering into that situation with and how best to navigate through those things with that person. I have no problem telling someone how many partners I've had. I have no problem telling someone, anything they want to know about my past. I'm the person who freely lays out my past for everyone, because you don't take away a person's choice. Give them the choice on who they're dealing with, who they're getting to know. Because some things, most things, have a habit of coming up. Things that you keep from your partner, things that you don't tell them in the beginning, have a way of coming up later on down the line. And I'd rather, just me being the kind of person I am, I'd rather there be no room for anything to come up that we didn't already talk about, that I didn't already tell you, so you could be like, oh, okay, yeah, we already talked about this, or I already know about that. Because I know that how I move in my relationships and how I treat people and the information that I'm willing to provide is because I know that that information is important to me. I wouldn't ask someone to do something for me that I'm not willing to do for them. If we have conversations and certain discussions in the beginning of a relationship, there are questions that I'm going to ask. And if the answers to those questions don't line up with information that becomes available to me 2 years, 4 years, 6 years down the line, I don't care how much time passes, and I don't care how trivial that thing was. If I find out that you were dishonest with me about something that I asked you that had nothing to do with me in the beginning of our relationship, and you chose to start that relationship off on a lie, then that foundation is faulty. And I don't know why people don't see it this way. It's faulty. And there's a problem there. Because if you can't be honest with someone before there's anything to lie to them about, then you can't be trusted to be honest when you have something to lose from being honest. And that's just the way I look at it. And it just is what it is. And I don't know why people don't apply this logic to this question. This is a very important question. I've been having these discussions with people for years about body counts and why it's important for you to have these conversations with a new partner. And so many people really think that it doesn't matter. And I don't agree. I 100% disagree with that. I think that everyone should have that discussion, not just about, potentially sexually transmitted diseases. Although that's important, you don't want to, share diseases, contract any diseases from anyone. But again, that's having the conversation is just one part, because a person can lie to you. A person can give you they can say 2 and be lying through their fucking teeth. A person can say, 20. It's not about the number, because you're never going to be sure if that number is accurate, if that number is real. What it's about is the intent. What it's about is the character of the person you're dealing with. If you like someone, if they like you, you're into each other, then there should be no reason why you shouldn't want to divulge information. If that person feels it's important, it's not about how you feel about that information. And that's a problem that we suffer from too in our society. The people that we claim we care about, the people in our circles, we justify not being truthful. We justify not communicating. We justify not having discussions that should be had because we don't feel they should be brought up, or we feel it's going to cause issues, or we feel that partner's going to get upset. It's not about you. If I'm asking you a question, I don't care that you think the question is not important, or the answer's none of my business, or the answer shouldn't matter. If I'm asking you, I'm asking for a reason. And if you say you rock with me that way to the point where you want to share in a relationship with me, share body fluids, then if you can share all the other intimate things that go into a relationship, then because it's important to me, because I'm asking, you should be willing to share information. There's no reason why you shouldn't be. And I think it should be looked at as the reddest of flags for any person who's not willing to do that. It's just a fucking question. Answer the goddamn question and we keep it moving. If the question bothers you that much, maybe you're not a person that I should be dealing with. And I mean that shit. That shit is so real. So I don't agree with this article, with this article's assessment here on the whole how many partners have you had talk. I think it's crazy as hell for the article to say that it's just insecure of someone to ask, and that it's called the past and it shouldn't be brought. That whole thing's bullshit. It's bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's no different than a job application. It's no different than the talk, about credit history and applying for a loan. The past matters. What you did in the past matters. Your habits matter. You want to go into a situation the best way possible with the most clean slate possible. And, if you're considering getting into a relationship where you're, for all intents and purposes, merging two lives together, however permanent or temporary, be all in or be all out. This straddling the fence shit and this us coming into relationships so guarded and so afraid to knock down those walls that we've built up and so afraid to let people in. What the fuck are you getting into a relationship for? Nobody wants to let anyone in. Everybody wants to have these defense mechanisms up and all these different reasons for why they feel, well, this is nobody's business and you shouldn't be asking me that and I'm not going to answer that. Okay, cool. Fucking be single. Or go find somebody that shit works for. Because that shit don't work with me. It just don't. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. Let me know what y'all think about this one. 50 secrets it's okay to keep from your partner. But how many partners you've had is definitely not a secret, in my opinion. You should be keeping from your partner. And if you do, you're dead ass wrong. And this is one of the, I think, 3 or 4 so far in this channel. In this article, out of the 12 that we've done so far, 13, at least 3 or 4 of these are just non-negotiable. And this one is non-negotiable. If you ask someone how many partners they've had, and they give you a defensive answer and don't want to tell you, please consider it a red flag. Because it's not about the number of partners. It's more about their unwillingness to open up. That early in the relationship, you're going to have issues later. I guarantee you. I promise. I promise you will. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think about this one. I don't pretend to know everything. I just know what I know. See you on the next one. Peace and love.